Agile-Team is a team and an enterprise system. It supports agile projects, SCRUM, XP, DSDM, Kanban, with product and sprint backlogs, burn-down charts etc. And Agile-Team supports also traditional waterfall development in the same database, as well as custom project methods. It handles time reporting and time tracking, resource management, project plan calculation and Gantt visualization, workflow support, bug tracking, version management, help desk incident tracking and support ticket management, view and work in multiple dimensions, search, reports, views and various customization possibilities. Some Agile-Team views are the product backlog and facility to select items to sprint, which is the SCRUM name for an iteration. The sprint backlog, with a Gantt pane that shows when the items can be finished. A time reporting view. A burn-down chart. A screen dump from the help desk customer portal. We will now go through a tour of using Agile-Team for a SCRUM project. To understand the details, you can read the paper, Agile-Team and SCRUM from the Agile-Team website. Also, here are given some good references for learning how to do SCRUM. Here we see the Work Item Explorer of Agile-Team. The Work Item Explorer is a powerful tool, which is used to edit and view the projects and work items. The Work Item Explorer can show a number of panels. First, the Selector panel, which contains the dimensions in Agile-Team, versions for the products, phases, resources and resource groups, a part tree for the products, and the projects with sub-projects and subfolders. New dimensions can be custom created. The dimensions is a powerful concept in Agile-Team. For the selections in the selector in combination with the applied filter, we retrieve the list of work items. This list can be sorted or grouped on any column, and we can choose which columns to display. We can open a work item pane, where it is easy to edit all the properties of a work item. The layout of this can be customized to fit to each project or team. Agile-Team can handle multiple projects in the same database, and there are a number of features and facilities to manage and inspect such a portfolio of projects. The projects can be a mixture of traditional waterfall projects and agile projects like the popular SCRUM method. Here we see how a SCRUM project can be handled. Several subfolders have been created: impediments, where the team can describe the problems that disturb the team from working optimally. Incoming folder, where everyone is allowed to create suggestions to the product backlog, which the product owner maintains. Admin, which the team can use for time registration for the administrative matters like meetings, preparing for presentations, etc. Registering these overheads explicitly can help the team calculate the development velocity. And then a subfolder for the work items for each sprint. To work with the product backlog, we can choose a predefined view that's shown the columns which are relevant for the product backlog. The columns are an identifier and a title, the originator, creation time of the item, who created the item, the kind of the item, which can be a bug, task, issue, question etc. For bugs, there is a recorded severity. For task, the importance is given in the business value field. This can be the value in money of having the item implemented, or as here, for simplicity, just a value from 1 to 1000, or for other projects, just a number from 1 and up. In the budget column, the team has given a rough estimate, in hours for each item, and the estimation risk column indicated how sure the team is about the estimate. The column business value, divided by budget, can be used to show where we get most value per hour. When we should select work items for a sprint, there are a number of things to consider, like: do we want to include some bug fixing in the sprint? It is difficult to mix the business value for fixing bugs with the business value for new tasks. The priorities of bugs are related to how severely they impact the users. But, in general, it is good to fix bugs as early as possible. Then there are sometimes some system-related work that must be implemented to deliver the items which the product owner asks for. It is also difficult to assign a business value to these. Like in this example, there must be a database design and an application framework before we can develop the real tasks. For the real tasks, the priority can be chosen from sorting on the business value, or from sorting on the column business value divided by budget. To help visualizing, where we get most bang for the buck, we can bring up a chart to visualize this. We type in how many development hours to select for, and then all the items are plotted with value and estimate. The line shows the border between the green items above the line, which can be included, and the red below, which are not included. When we have selected which items we want to include, we will just drag them to the sprint folder. One of the next tasks is to create detailed estimates for the work items in the sprint. We fill in detailed estimates in the rest column, which always contains an estimate of the remaining hours to complete the item. To make sure that the items are well understood by the team, it is a good idea that the team together with the product owner fills out a how-to-demo description for each work item. The how-to-demo descriptions can later be used at the sprint review meeting, when the results of the sprint should be demonstrated. Since large values are difficult to estimate correctly, it is suggested to break large work items up into smaller items. As example, break up work items of more than 30 hours into smaller items. Agile-Team makes it easy at any time to add children to a work item. The rest estimate for the parent will be calculated as the sum of the children. The parent will only get the status done when all the children are done, and various settings for the parent will be inherited down to the children. To add a child item, just right-click on a work item, and choose Add Child Work Item. This will bring up the work item dialog, and it is possible to specify the parameters for the new child item. Fill in a title and a description if relevant. In Agile-Team, a work item has activities which are assigned resources and given estimates. In this example, each work item has 4 activities: implementation, documentation, testing and review. This is optional as only a single activity is required, but the 4 activities supports a workflow to remember that relevant items are documented, tested and reviewed. For now we will just give a rest estimate for implementing of the item. When we click the OK button, we choose to create one more work item with the same settings. For demonstration, we will create a couple of more child work items. For the other work items, we will just assign a detailed estimate to each item, without breaking them up into smaller items. When we have given all the work items a detailed estimate, we can assign who should perform these. For Scrum projects, it is often the team that selects the work items themselves during the daily Scrum meetings. We can assign the work items by dragging them to the resource dimension. So we select all work items and drag them to the group node of the team. We choose to assign only the implementation activity. To illustrate that you can assign work items to individual resources, we assign the design database task to Peter. Right-clicking on the project node allows you to specify the properties for that node. Here you can specify when the sprint should start, and when it should be finished. The budget value is the total number of man-hours allocated to the sprint. We can see that the budget for the sprint is set to 600 hours. And the total sum from the children is 525 hours. This leaves a buffer for unforeseen problems. Now we can ask Agile-Team to calculate a plan. We can enable the Gantt pane to see the plan, or we can choose a view that shows relevant columns for the sprint plan. All work items, which have the same priority, are scheduled to start at the same time. Agile-Team has a number of facilities to allow resources to report time on the work items. First, to allow time reporting on a work item, it must have an activity that are marked active. When marked active, the status of the work item shifts to being in progress. Time reports can be inserted from the work item dialog in the Time Reports tab. When clicking on the Insert button, it is possible to give a comment about the work, together with the number of hours, and then maybe correct the rest estimate to complete the work. When we leave the work item dialog, we see in the Explorer that the status of the work item is now in progress, and we can see that the used time column shows how many hours we have worked on the item. Team members can also shift to the Time Reports Daily view, which shows the items that are active assigned to the resource. Here we can see the time report we made in the work item dialog. Team members can also report time in the Monthly Time Report view, which displays accumulated time usage during the month. The Monthly Time Report view makes it quick to enter multiple time reports. Through the time chart, Agile-Team can display how the values of rest, used, total and budget are developing over time. This corresponds to what is called the burn-down chart for a Scrum project. The time chart is a great tool for obtaining a quick status of the project. Let's have a look at a couple of real projects. The red line shows the budget which was set for the project. There is a buffer from the blue line, which is the sum of the detailed estimates. It can be seen that this sprint was finished within the budget. The brown line shows how used time is growing for each day, while the green line shows how remaining time goes down day by day. The purple line shows a straight line from start to end, indicating how the time should ideally be reduced. A comment is that if the ideal line should follow the rest time, then the team should calculate with a buffer in each item, or have a work item that represents the buffer. But this is up to the usage of Agile-Team. We will now have a look at the current sprint for the same project. Here it can be seen that rest goes down too slowly. It can also be seen that use time is not growing much. The team must here be occupied with other work, either support tasks, or another project. The last example we bring up is from another project. Here, we can see that the remaining rest time does actually follow the ideal line. But it can be seen that the team spends much more time than was planned. It is probably a good idea to go and have a talk with the team about the problems they are having. Agile-Team checks various rules for the project, and visualizes possible problems. First, it can be seen in the budget and total columns, that the numbers are displayed with red color, when total for a work item becomes bigger than the specified budget for the item. Then when we look to the left in the work item pane, we can see that some markers are yellow and red. When we move the mouse over the colored markers, we see a hint about the reason for the marking. When we double-click on a marker, we can see which rules are enabled, and which result in yellow color and red color. It can be seen here that when total time exceeds the budget, it results in a yellow marking. When finish exceeds the specified latest finish of the sprint, this results in a red marking. When we open the Gantt view, we see that the deadline for the sprint will probably be exceeded if we don't take any actions.